Hey traders, this is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Thursday, September 2nd, second trading day of the month in the books. Theme of the day. Well, before we get to that, risk disclaimer, everything that we're going through here is for information purposes only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. Here is the risk disclaimer in front of you. Also, if the video is a little bit blurry, it's just because YouTube takes a little bit to render the high definition version of the video. Theme of the day, small caps continue their outperformance. We'll go over that chart in just a second. Value outperforms, and actually large cap values. Small cap growth actually outperformed. So we can kind of go over that a little bit too. So this should be large cap. Large cap value outperforms, and then also just kind of looking ahead tomorrow, we have the jobs number, which all eyes are going to be on. Although I don't know if this is really going to be much of an effect for tomorrow. If there's a bad jobs report, which I think some people are expecting, that could be the bad news, could be good news, because then you have to think about kind of the second derivative of what will happen. A poor jobs report means that the Fed has more ammunition to kind of hold off tapering for whatever reason. I don't. That's the main thought process. A really strong jobs report might work the other way. Might actually be a little bit of bad news. So we shall see. It is the last trading day before a 3-day weekend too, so maybe some traders might be taking some risk off a little bit. Again, not a prediction, but just thinking a little bit logically about tomorrow and ahead of a 3-day weekend. Sometimes that does take place. So what in terms of performance, S&P did finish up another 30 basis points. Qs were flat for the day. They actually gave back some gains over the session. They've been very strong, as I noted in my pre-market ETF fund flow report. There's been a lot of inflows going into Qs. There's $4 billion of inflows have gone into the Qs over the last 5 days. And yesterday, I think there was over $1 billion that went into the Qs. Sometimes the data may be 1 day late, but yeah, I mean that's still a pretty hefty number. So kind of makes sense that there might be a little bit of profit taking there today. Small caps up just about almost 0.75% again. Also the micro caps very strong for the day. The VIX closed actually positive for the day, but not much. I always seem to get this question: oh, the VIX was up today and the S&P was up today. Well, it's only up a little bit. We're looking at a very low level. If the VIX was up like 5% and the S&P was up, then I would say, okay, that may be a little bit of a cause for concern. But plus or minus 2% in the VIX isn't really all that much, in my opinion. Again, I always give you my opinion. Let's go over to the S&P chart. A couple things, I'll have some nice thing for the Bears in a second, but a point that somebody brought up to me and a colleague brought up to me in the TTG trading room today, which we're going to go over in just a second. But bottom line is here, if you look at this, just like we talked about yesterday with a couple of these dojis, right? We are staying above all short-term moving averages. So we continue to grind higher. I know there's a lot of people out there that like to try to estimate, we've had such a nice swing, we're probably due for a pullback. I think everybody thinks that at this point. I tweeted this out, and I kind of agree, of course I should agree with what I tweeted out, but everyone has one foot out the door, right? Everybody knows that there's weak seasonality in September. Thinking that the market's up too much. And yeah, the pain trade at this point is for this market to grind higher, right? People put on hedges thinking, okay, we're going to get a pullback, and that may very well be at some point this month. But the pain trade is higher right now. The higher we go, I think the more it hurts people at this point. So yeah, that's just my quick thought on that. Also, like if you look at the 1 hour chart, right? This is something that I talked about in the midday video, right? We just basically the S&P has just been kind of going a little bit flat, and this is just digestion right now, right? we've not been able to kind of, one thing to note, we've not been able to get above Tuesday's high, which is right around this 40, 45, 44 level. So, maybe some selling, every time we get a little bit of strength on the tape, because we've not been able to take out the highs for the week. So again, there's no major resistance up here. Some people like to look at like extensions and say, I just think we're digesting here. And again, wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of volatility, or if we saw a little bit of volatility next week. Again, just to kind of frame things correctly, but it is what it is. You know, we've just basically gone sideways here, and it's good. Like, we look at the 5 minute chart sometimes in the room, and we had a slide down. Where did we find support? Right at the bottom of value for the day. A little bit of a double check back, and we moved back up. All right, so the one thing that I mentioned as I brought up the screen, kind of interesting, like, and I could go back further months, but notice, right? So, these value areas are grayed out, so they're a little bit harder to see on your screen, so I'll kind of highlight them. But we do, at some point in a month, come back and retest the top of value. So let's go all the way back to the one that I have on my screen here. Here's top of value. We touched that. We go to the next month, which was all the way back in October of last year. We got above value. We came back and we touched it. We actually went down further. Here we touched the top of value again. Here we were all over the top of value. Here we started the month above value. This was January, and we came in and we touched the top of value again here. Right. Again, these are value areas for the month, right? They're just, all we're doing is basically drawing a value area based on the previous volume at price for that period, right? So the previous period, we're drawing that volume forward. So here's another one, right? So we started above value. This was January. We just went over this. February, again, we got through the top of value. So here's your touch. March, here's your touch of top of value. April, we had a touch of the top of value right in the beginning of the month. May, we touched the top of value here, and then we kind of went down and then back up. This is April. This is May, all over the top of value. July, interesting, only one touch here, top of value, and then we got going. And then last month we also had the top of value. So that remains to be seen. And again, is that the end of the world if we come in and touch back the top of value? No, not at all. Right? We're talking about like a percent down or something. So or 1.5%. So just keep that in mind as we where we are in the month of September. But yeah, we have not had one of those. I think my colleague who put this data together said 19 months was the last time that we did not touch the top of value in a month. All right, so again, that level is 4477.75. All right, let's move on. We'll talk about IWM. Note that this interesting. It wasn't taken out there, but it was taken out in Russell Futures. That Virgin point of control has been taken out. So we've made this nice move, pretty crazy, right? If you go back a couple weeks ago, which I know, everybody has short memories, but we were exploring the bottom part of this range just a couple weeks ago, and we've basically just been up and to the right. And we'll see what happens at this VPOC. Now, there's some ones on the hourly too. All right, there's one up. There's two more to go. Right. Again, these are where a lot of two more to go. Again, a Virgin point of control, if you're not familiar with the concept, is where a lot of buyers and sellers have previously met up, and they kind of act as gaps. We haven't revisited that. So you could see here, for example, price did not touch this point of control. So every time we have a value area that the price doesn't go through the point of control, that leaves one of these red lines behind. All right, and they can often act as pivots, magnets, where we kind of go out and can rally up to that level, then sometimes digest or actually sell off from there. Not 100%, but a lot of times. So let's talk about a couple movers for the day. Besides the overall averages, basically not going too far, up 30 basis points over the session, not much. There was some decent plays. Energy stocks did outperform, not really in any of these names, but they are continuing to show some outperformance with the move in. Might as well talk a minute about Crude. Crude has made a nice move here. On the 1 hour chart, it's above value. It also, interesting, it did close right at the top of value. Also, the 50-day moving average. So it was not able to get above that, but nice move from where we were. Kind of like the small cap ETF making a nice move the last 2 weeks up and to the right. All right, so that was your best performing sector. A couple other things like the transports, biotech, clean energy was also strong. Healthcare names were strong. So so let's go through some of names that were on my charts and some trades that I made today. I got out of this one trade earlier today. Again, I wasn't looking for a home run here. Just liked the move and took profits here in Bumble here. So that this was a good move. And again, not being super greedy with all trades, especially ones that were. I'm basically just looking for a short-term target. Disney hit another target in Disney. This is my third target in Disney. One of the things that I said was that I would be okay if it pulled back. At this point, now that I'm out of a lot of the trade, maybe we come back and we retest. I like breakouts and then a retest. So perhaps we come in here and we retest this 180. That does look like a bearish engulfing candle for the day. But again, I normally take around 4 targets in a trade, so I'm out of 3 targets. So, and again, nice trade just putting this on. I think at the end of last week I put that on. Unity Software. This was real nice one. Put this trade on about a week ago, and just has been consolidating a little bit. Remember, this is a name that had good earnings, right? So consolidating, and nice move here. So. And nice volume as well on this move. So I'm still long this name. Did take a couple targets in it. Whereas should have my second target down here someplace. 132 paid 125. Like I said, just roughly about a week ago in that trade. I did exit some trades. Again, I want to be as we do grind higher. The way that I manage these moves and have kind of talked about this the last couple of days is I try to be a net seller, right? Just selling into strength, right? It's something that you just kind of learn over time. Is that you could, I put on some new trades today, but I'm taking off more risk than I'm putting on, right? So, of course, here was this trade. Tech, I thought was interesting for the day. Saw a little bit of call buying. I'm probably going to take a target here at 24.60. But this made a nice move out of value and out of this consolidation period. So again, something a little bit different, right? Alcoa has been really strong. This did take out one of these Virgin point of controls. There's another one up here at 51, but has been moving really nice. The lithium plays, which I think they may have given back some of these gains. So yeah, a little bit toppy, but they were acting well, through half the session. What else did I want to go through out of my trades? Earnings trade, this, another earnings gap name out of the software names. And there's a couple in the after hours market again. But this is Asana. This was a name that I was looking for a breakout in here. Just didn't get it. So I did put on an earnings trade. And we got another gap up name. So this was a nice trade. Asana did not have weekly options, only monthly options. So it took some profits in a call spread, almost a double in that trade. Home Depot. This is a name that I like to come back to over and over again, especially when it kind of sets up like this. Sometimes you have to be patient with this name, but remember this name had earnings a couple weeks ago and is now above this little downtrend line. Just looking for a move maybe up to 331, and I'm in some calls to exploit a short move. So looking through a move through value, and then maybe if it gets there, maybe hold the last piece. I was able to take a target in that trade right at the end of the day. All right, and just a couple other charts. Might as well go. I like to go over ones that don't work too, just to talk about how you manage them. This is Shopify. I've been watching the Shopify now for a couple weeks, and it's been a frustrating one. Most likely, there's a seller in this thing because every time it tries to break this range, intraday it does it, and it could look great like in the first couple hours of the day, but it gave this move back and it never really returned. So, unfortunately, this was right around my stop price, and it just, big move down, and I gave it a chance to come back in here. And once I saw it just didn't have any strength to it, I got out of it. And again, it's important to kind of go over these and just realize that, hey, we can't control these names, even though I think Shopify is a great name. I'm surprised why it hasn't broken higher here, but it is what it is. I'll go back and whenever I get stopped out of a trade like this, I always put the alert back. Right? We don't know when this seller is going to be finished up. Maybe they got finished up today, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's a couple days later. In any event, I want to watch to see if this breaks back above 1558. Right? So that's where the alert is in that one, and I think a good one to watch. I still like the chart, even though it's hesitating here on the right at the breakout area. Right. A couple other ones, NTL, both edit. I was informed that this edit has data that's coming out at the end of the month or close to the end of the month. Nice move. However, there's one of those version point of controls taken out, so it might digest there. NTLA was also very nice. This is a name that's been going up, digesting up, digesting, consolidating, and trying to move above this range. So I did position a little bit into this one today, and you could see I took my first target right around 171. Could have taken another target to at the close at the end of the day. I just figured, hey, well, I locked in some profits in this one, and we'll continue to watch. Another name that I was watching, and I just didn't want to add too much more risk because I also added another swing trade in DraftKings. This was a name that I made some money in about 2 weeks ago, was it? I sold on this version point of control, but it's been consolidating here, and this is a nice trade. I think football season starts a week from today, so I'm obviously looking forward to that. But I think this is could be a nice buy the rumor, sell the news type trade, right? This name. Some of these casino names, the sports betting names like to rally into an event, right? I think the last time I played DraftKings for a decent swing trade was back in March Madness, right? And that's the last time this thing has really been effective in terms of moving, to the upside. So I think the same thing is going on here, and I'll see if I can kind of sit in a trade for a week into football season. All right, and so the last name that I was watching was Snowflake. Again, gap up on earnings hasn't really been doing much, but still, want to keep my eye on this one. Really easy level to watch, right? Which is this 307 level, right? So this will be a good one to watch for tomorrow. I like that there's no major, I don't like to see these red lines right in front of the stock price. So there isn't one until 339. There's an extension away from the 1 hour value area up at 334, and you could see it's pretty clean on the daily chart. So notice that lines up with the red line with the version point of control on the daily chart up at 335. So that would be a great little place to kind of to aim for a target, and perhaps putting the stop price at 292, or you could use, if it does break out here, then you could use this like 305 level, right? Little just to use more round numbers there. All right, that's it for today's recap. The other thing just to note is, I keep adding names to our our earnings watch list. I can't believe how many names I've got now. A watch list of 60 names that have had good, strong earnings reactions this quarter. So, again, I understand everybody's looking for a little bit of a pullback or this market to come in a little bit, but if it does, that's the positive thing. If you're positioned appropriately for it, there's so many good names to watch and that have been acting so well post their earnings report. So I think that this will will continue to be some good opportunities. Just have to let those opportunities maybe come to you, and some names that have gotten extended, maybe let them come in again and rest again, and let them build again. But I'm excited about how many names. There are over 60 names on this watch list that have reported really good earnings, and not just good earnings, but good earnings reactions. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.